All right, what's up, boys and girls? We got another episode of TagCast here. I am your host, Scott, aka Zhang, on the boards, of course. So I told you that these episodes they were going to come pretty rapid fire. I'm going to try, like I said, my best to make up for all that empty space that we had during the holiday season. But with that, for this episode, I wanted to talk about a character who I personally think is top tier, and I actually thought he was top tier before this, but kind of unused, I think, up until Tag 2, and I've been noticing a lot more players for him recently, but that is Fang. And with Fang, we actually have a Fang player who's been doing pretty well recently for himself. So with that, I want to introduce LOC Lock. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Not too bad. So you did pretty well at NEC not too long ago. I actually was talking to Kane a little bit about NEC just because, you know, everyone was hyped up about Ace and how he did during that tournament. But you didn't do too shabby yourself. So first, before we, because I do want to ask a little bit about NEC, but before that, kind of give people a background since you haven't been on the podcast before. You know, kind of tell us where you started, where you're from, and you know how you got here, how you got here to Tekken Tag 2.
Yeah, well, let's see, we can't start all the way at the beginning. Wow. I started playing Tekken, I want to say, when I was in middle school, actually. And I can't even remember what titles I was playing, but the first title I remember getting really serious about and started getting salty about was probably Tekken Tag. And the story goes like this. I was going to the arcades and play, and I really wanted to get good, but, you know, I was too poor, and I didn't have the system. So I played in the arcade, you know, and I did a couple quarters here and there. But I actually, I guess, started to get serious with Tekken 4 when Gym Master arrived in Virginia. So I started in Virginia. Mike showed up, and we started playing a little more serious. We would travel. We were going to play with, like, Tom Brady and those guys. And I think after that, you know, I started getting the fundamentals. And when Tekken 5 was hit, I think that's when I started to really blow up and get serious and go to competition. Like, I went to regionals and Nats, and, you know, 6 came along. We won't even talk about DR, because DR was pretty bad for LOC. I was Zero Jin's little bitch. But, yeah, you know, 6 came along. It was a great game. I played that. I was actually living in Ohio when that game dropped in the U.S., and so I traveled back and forth to Cincinnati from Columbus. I played for Props to Slooch. I played with that guy. And a few other guys like Derek Legend. Derek Legend actually made an appearance at NEC. And after that, after playing there, I moved to New York. And, man, New York competition versus Midwest, it was like a totally different ballgame. Mm-hmm. I was getting scrapped left and right. But then after 6, you know, when Tag 2 dropped, that was like me being in a prime location with, you know, really good players to pick the game up early. And so I think that's why I'm doing so well now, is because I have the comp. You know, I have to give all the props to the good players here in New York who are playing and grinding it out. You know, irrespective of the poor performance, I think that everyone gave in NXT. I think personally we played like shit.
Well, you know, you can't, every day can't be a good day, so to speak. So, you know, you just got to keep, you know, grinding out, get that time chamber going on, and hope you do a little better next time. But speaking of NEC, though, so you say that, you know, you guys didn't play all that well, but still give us your overall impression of NEC. Like, how did you like it? Did you see, aside from Ace, of course, who I think a lot of people think came out of nowhere to steal that tournament, aside from him, were there any other, like, notable surprises or any maybe players that no one else really has heard of that you're like, wow, this guy's going to make a splash? Or not even necessarily players, but just anything of note that.
Well, let me say this. I want to say that there were maybe 3 players that really made you know, their a really good performance. I guess I'll start with Rampage. Rampage, you guys may know as Ozzy. He's a Jack player. out of New York, and he's Pakistani. He's kind of like our little Pakistani champ. Man is crushing folks left and right. And he gave Core a good run for his money, I think in pools. Core pulled it out, and much props to Core on that. The Rampage really well there. Mr. Taxi, like he came, he conquered. He was really about showing off his really flashy offensive style. And I think, I'm a big fan of Mr. Taxi now. Like, especially, I mean, that kid, you can't call him a button masher. I mean, he really has the depth. He knows the setups, and he executes well. He doesn't drop. He doesn't crack under pressure. He knows his game. You've got to beat his game in order to beat him. You can't get his out of his head. And the last player, of course, Ace. As everyone saw, Ace kind of blew me up on stream. And much props to Ace, because Ace played, really well. He, again, someone who didn't crack under pressure. He played excellently against OFTP and Bloodhawk and Fab. I mean, he just went down the gauntlet, and he threw down. So props to him.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I kind of brought this up to Kane a little bit, because a lot of people were, or I shouldn't say a lot, but there were definitely some people that were saying that Ace, how is he winning? The system is letting him win because he's not punishing and doing all this other stuff. But if you consider X, Y, Z to be really good players, he beat X, Y, and Z at that tournament. So he,
yeah, that was the thing. He went down the gauntlet. He did the laundry list. He took out the laundry. He cleaned out.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't one fluke set or anything like that. So a lot of props to him. Now with with all that being said, it's kind of funny that you mentioned being poor and broke when the first Tekken Tag came out, because I was actually in a very similar situation. Tag was my first competitive game, but
right.
I didn't really play it a whole lot when it was in the arcade, because I just did not have the money to be thrown at that, and I was too young to have a job or anything like that. So I actually eventually I met a friend of mine who I'm still good friends with today in high school, who he's actually pretty well off. His parents made quite a bit of money. And another good friend of mine comes up and he's like, dude, I just met this guy. He's really cool. And he's got a fucking PS2, man. None of us had a PS2. We're like, holy shit, dude. How did he even afford that? And he's like, dude, and he has Tekken. We can go over there and play Tekken. I was like, all right, it's on. So that's that's how I got my start. But
dude, yeah, we all have stories like
hilarious. That. Well, let's actually start getting to that strategy talk then. So we're talking Fang, and now I take it you've been playing Fang ever since he dropped on 5.0.
Yeah, ever since ever since I hit somebody with shoulder, at the beginning of the round, I thought Fang was the shit. I was like, this character, he's so pimp. Man, he's got the bangles on his arms. He's got no shirt on. He's scowling. The man has muscles on top of muscles. I was like, I love this character. He's like, and he is like a kung fu, like Wu-Tang, like whole type.
Yeah, YOLO shoulder. He's like, get out of here.
He's YOLO. You can surprise a lot of people. I played really wacky in 5.0, but it really worked. A lot of people liked Fang. People played Fang. I think he kind of wasn't chosen as much, like even in DR. People say that DR Fang was pretty good, but he wasn't that popular. Then here we are in Tag 2 right now, and it seems like everyone has Fang like in their back pocket.
Well, and
everyone
he was super dirty in 5.0, and I remember there was a Japanese Fang player when I was on the podcast with Kane. He said it was you, and thinking back on it after I've had time to reflect, I'm fairly sure that he's right, that was the player that came here. But he came and got third with Fang and just was mopping everybody up. And just like a little taste for all you people out there who maybe didn't play 5.0,
Oh, you're talking about why
yep,
you
exactly. Yeah, oh yeah, he's amazing. Yeah. But like we had Fang players here, but like he came and just showed us what Fang could do. It was it was pretty impressive. But just kind of a taste for how dirty 5.0 was for, you know, those out there who didn't play it. Maybe you started with 6, or maybe Tag 2 is your first Tekken. Back 1 was not a counter hit. It would knock down on regular hit. It was not punishable. In fact, I think it was -3, -4, something really, really stupid like that. So you could just sit there and kind of keep doing it, and then you could not tech out of the stun. Like you had to sit there for it, and there were mad tech traps with that. It was dirty. It was so dirty.
Yeah, I used to run down forward 1, back 1. That was my 2.
Yeah.
You get the free shoulder afterwards. That move was really good, and people kind of like sit on it. Oh, it's not a good move. I'm like, yeah. Now that they cannot roll back again, it's viable. The problem was in 6.0, or in BR even, that people could roll out of the counter hit knockdown, and so you got nothing guaranteed. And the fact that it was punishable, it's like, okay, why are you using it? You really don't depend on it. But it's good again, so I'm telling people to use that.
Well, and it's I'm glad that you mentioned the punishable factor, because it's if I remember correctly, it's only -10, so it's just jab punishables. But it's a really, really quick punish. Yeah. So I mean, if you have to be on to recognize it, and then if you block it, punish it, and that's assuming that you're within range. Yep. So.
Yeah, but if you play enough of them, I mean, you'll be waiting for it. And some players, you know, that have good experience against Fang will sit, you know, like a little outside of his close range, and you know they'll pretend like they're going to rush him. So the Fang player is going to decide, okay, am I going to crush? Am I going to counter hit? You know, and if they counter hit, they're using back 1. They're not going to use standing 4. They use back 1. And so they can kind of see it, and he always makes the same noise. He's like, ah, you know, when he throws it out. So someone's going to whip punish if they know anything about
it. Gotcha. Well, I did want to talk. I mentioned earlier when I first started the podcast. This was a character I think he was really, really underrated in T6, and a lot of people complained about him because there was one big issue that everyone always pointed to, and that was his damage. Now, I wanted to ask you about this a little bit because personally, I didn't think it was such a huge issue with his damage, because he still got decent juggle damage. You know, it wasn't the best, but it was still, you know, it was still a healthy chunk. It was a juggle, just like anybody else. And then he had the tech trap, which I'm not sure if he has anymore. But because of the tag assaults now, like the damage issue, to me at least, is completely gone. Like he does just as beefy damage in juggles as anyone else does. Do you agree with that, or do you think he's still got a little bit of an issue with it?
You're right. His damage is better now, and that's in relation to the other characters. Like in terms of what it was before versus what it is now, I think he does more damage. Like for instance, he back 1 + 2 shoulder used to, I think it was 29 points or something like that. And his 1-2-2 did like 28 or something like that. So it was like roughly even. Now shoulder does like 40 points of damage. Like it leaps and bounds above 1-2-2. It's only like 32 or 33 damage, I think. But yeah, using shoulder is definitely where his juice comes from. Like his wall damage. 1-2 shoulder, and I think that's his strongest damage right now.
1-2 shoulder, huh?
Yeah, 1-2 shoulder. I mean, that's so easy too, and it leaves you in Okie situations too. So you kind of like a little side turn. They have to guess whether you're actually back turned or not. So you got all your grab options. They got the low sweep.
Nice. Yeah. Well, now the only other really I would say weakness that I ever heard of in T6 was that sometimes like he had some weird range issues with certain moves. Like if you look at his I wouldn't call it magic, but if you look at his magic 4, you know, it's got a little less range than most people's magic 4. I'm trying to think of what.
Yeah, not to mention you can't fully combo off of it.
Yeah, you just get the mini combo.
Why use it?
I'm trying to think of what else there was people would complain about. I can't remember. But I know that there were like some mid-range issues that some people would point out, which I didn't really think were huge issues. But now he has stuff like 3-3 or the 3-3-4 string, like that crazy range on that. He still has 2-4, which I think is one of the best two-hit pokes in the game. And now I can't remember. Could he go into back turn in T6 off of that string with the 1, or is that new? Okay.
No, that's a new.
Like I never finished that string ever in T6. I just used it for the 2-4 because it's such a good two-hit poke. But now
even on hit, people should be afraid of using the 2-4 going into back turn. It's good, but it's not great. Because if a person really knows whether they've been hit or not, like I think they have enough range to launch him before he can do anything once he's back turned. I mean, you can try to turn back around, but I think even still you're going to catch some.
Even if 2-4 hits.
So,
oh wow.
Yeah, if you go in the back turn, you're done. You're going to eat something. People just aren't familiar with it yet.
Now, is that the same with 3-3-4 then? If you go into back turn, are you just a sitting duck if your opponent knows what they're doing?
I haven't really investigated that one, but I think that you might be worse off. Can't be any better because 3-3-4 back turn transition is slower than 2-4 back turn transition.
So even against well, I shouldn't say even against, but against like more experienced players who know kind of how to fight Fang, that third hit for both of those strings, that's not really all that scary to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to use if you want to keep people, guessing. If you think someone is gonna really try to be, button happy, and they're like, okay, he did something, now I'm going to do something. He did 2-4, okay, he's probably going to step or something. And, I mean, in those situations, maybe you want to finish it. It's good by the wall, for the wall splats, 2-4-1. What else is there? And the 3-3-4, of course, if you delay it, 3-3 tails, you delay it, they catch that second hit, they're eating the third.
Well, and that's why I mentioned it, because I know that from what I've seen, like, it's not something that people throw out, or at least the Fang players that I've run into throw out a ton, but that third hit is super beefy of 3-3-4. So yeah, most people.
They got a TagCast if they want to escape, which is cool. I think, and that even offers some ideas, because you can turn around while they're tag crashing, and the tag crash should miss you. You can launch, so this is something, it's a meta game, right?
So with to kind of backtrack just a little bit, so I take it that you don't really see any range issues with any of his moves or any.
So let's not say that. His hop kick.
Oh yes, it's hop. That was the other big one that I was forgetting about.
And his hop kick is ass. People don't understand, man. There are times when I wish I had, well, I won't say any other hop kick, but Bruce got a really good one.
Bruce, I think.
Leo's hop kick. Bruce has a good one too. But both of those, like, they have good range, like, on their hop kick. There's times when I throw that shit out to punish, like 15 frame, I can't punish, like, what is it, Nina's Divine Cannon. I can't punish that with hop kick. It's minus 15. I get shoulder, I get down forward 4, which is 15 frames. So, like, with Chin, I can just can kick. I don't have to worry about it. Or I can hop kick. Both work. The thing is, hop kick does not work. Extra shit to think about when I'm punishing stuff.
Wow. So yeah, that was I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the one that I was trying to think of that I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean he makes up for his range issues in spades. The fact that he's got his forward his cross dash cancel. I said quarter circle forward cancel into while standing 1. Then that's great. That gets you so far. Like, if you know that someone is playing a bit defensively, you can spam the shit out of that. I mean, mind you, you will get counter hit, against a Mishima player or something like that. They can launch you. but it's a great tool to get in.
Gotcha. Well, okay, let's talk about talk about that a little bit. So the while standing, the quarter circle forward, and then while standing cancel. So just kind of, are you looking to do anything else out of it, or are you mostly just that, just to poke a little bit? Because I personally, I am a huge fan of quarter circle forward 1. I really like that move. But what's
one?
up?
Which one? The ground?
Yeah,
the ground hit.
Yeah, the shoulder.
One?
But you know, as you mentioned, if you do the while standing cancel, you know, great poke. And then of course it has the follow ups that you can do if you want to. But it's you know, just mostly a threat of the additional hits that make people stop.
It tracks a bit to both sides. The while standing one, it's -1 on block. I'm not sure what it is on hit, but it's not much. The point is, it's a great way to get in. I tend to sidestep a lot off of it because people will want to respond. So I can sidestep and block. You know, I can go back to ducking. Or instead of the while standing 1, maybe I'm throwing, you know, while standing 3. If I see that my while standing 1s are hitting, why not go for the launch? It's only -12.
Now, real quick, just because whenever I try to do it for whatever reason, sometimes I'll accidentally get quarter circle forward 1. Run me through how you do the while standing cancel.
Okay. It is down to down forward. And then I believe you hold down forward. And so the crouch dash is initiated, or the forward dash is initiated, and then it will be canceled to like a crouching, moving forward, you know, position. And then you just kind of let go and you're hitting 1. So it's forward, no, is it down, forward, holding it, and it's a neutral.
So you don't actually complete the quarter circle forward motion yet.
Yeah, right, and that's where the mistakes come in. I do it a lot myself. Like I'll be throwing out while standing 1s, and I'll get, you know, a quarter circle forward 1. It's not what I want.
And there's no way to cancel that after you hit the forward, right? Like you know, like a Mishima wave dash, you would do the crouch dash motion and then hit back to cancel it.
I mean, if you didn't hit a button, I mean, you can always hit back to cancel it.
Gotcha. I didn't know if there was like
you can block out of that
other way, but okay, yeah. That sounds like it's the best way though. At least I guess.
Right, and it's confusing to the opponent because you're moving in their face, but you're also able to block. It's like, all right, it's just like having a wave dash. Great.
So okay, so along with that cancel, I did want to talk a little bit about his spacing game because quite honestly, this is where I think he's just the fucking dirtiest in the game because he has like all of these safe, like retardedly long range tools. Forward 2 spam is just insane. Force slide 3, crazy good. And it feels I did want to ask about that specifically because it kind of feels like they I guess you could say nerfed the evasion on it a little bit because it felt like it jumped and went under a lot more stuff in T6 than it does now.
You're talking about the overhead flip?
Because it still does. It still has mad evasion to it, but it almost feels like sometimes I'll get caught out of it more than I did in T6. But even then, you know, it's still a crazy good move, super long range. Obviously, it's safe. The tracking on it, it can be iffy at weird angles, but still has a huge hitbox on it. But I just wanted to get your opinion.
It goes pretty far. I guess you could say it follows the same principles as like crushing. It crushes kind of late, and it does too low and then high crushes. If that makes any sense, I think it's just a point in the animation. But I've crushed jabs. I've crushed electric. I can crush like I can crush a health sweep. Mids are the only way to beat it. You can space it out pretty well too. Like the use of it really is at a mid to long range. If you think the person's moving in on you, because it offers you two things, right? One is on a hit, it's a close, plus. But on block, from far away, it's like plus 3 or 4 on block. It's on up close, I believe it's like -2 or -3. Like it's not as abusable. So I use it at mid to long range. I don't know what ranges you've been using it at.
Oh, well, no, I try.
Yeah, so you don't want to use it up close.
No, definitely not up close. He has better tools, especially at close range than that. But no, yeah, the mid to long range is where I usually and it's I'm glad that you mentioned the difference between the close range and the long range, because like even the pushback on hitting it like at tip range, I guess, it like shoots them away. So it's ultra safe, I guess, is a way to put it. Is it? I can't imagine that you would use it like as a pressure tool or anything.
And let me just say this too, because I know people are going to probably they're going to make their comments. Oh, well, that move is -2. That move is -3. Whatever you got it wrong. It's like I don't profess to have all the tech knowledge in the world. I think people like Jeffrey James, who keeps the book, he's my hero. I tried to do that. I got a couple notes in there now, some frame data. But just a disclaimer that if I get some of this frame data wrong, either you'll catch me or the frame police will get me. I'm sure in the comments.
Yeah, no, I'm actually in the same boat. I try to know as much frame data as I can, just because I think having at least a little bit makes you a more well-rounded player. But it's just based on a lot of the players that have won big majors. It's frame data is not everything, and if you can feel the game and if you know the situations, that's all you need. Because I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I know Core. I think he's not a big frame guy. But
he learns his punishers. He learns his max damage, and he works on his movement. I think that's where he spends the most of his time.
Yeah, and again, he does. Even if you don't know the frames, you can still know the punishers without knowing the exact frames on stuff. So.
Right. You just experiment. You find the punisher.
easy as pie. So we were talking about the range game, and he has really good in with the crouch dash while standing cancel, and then he still has other stuff, forward 4-2, foresight 3.
Forward 2 is a great tool. It tracks a bit to Fang's right, but from just like at that mid to long range it's really, I guess it's more of a mid range tool. You're playing the spacing game, right? You're at long range, and you guys are coming in and out of mid range, and you need to hit them with something. You kind of want to shake them a bit. That's why I use forward 2. I don't use it like to punish anything. It's like an outside tool. Use almost. I guess it's offensive defense or defensive offense, whichever one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's actually I think that's a good way to describe it. When I'm usually using it, it's usually to kind of cancel out someone else's spacing. Like when you see somebody moving around, if you time it right, the forward can realign you, and then you just mentioned it tracks a little bit. But so if you
So if they're stepping from outside, they still make it.
Exactly. So like those people who are kind of bouncing around, doing their back dashing and their snake dashing, whatever you want to call it, just kind of moving around. It can come out of nowhere, and it's a lot faster than you think when you get you eat it right in the face. But one thing that I love about it is like against the wall, if you're not right in their face with Fang, and you're kind of at that mid range and you haven't gotten up close yet, it wall splats. So it's kind of that, it is negative, of course, but if you see them moving around trying to maneuver their way out of the corner, I always found that it was a really good thing to keep them there. Because you don't want to get wall splat from a safe mid that far away.
The one thing that technically it's not a safe mid.
It's not.
I think it's -10, but the pushback is such that, or -11, such that you won't be getting hit. I remember GM used to punish it, I think, with standing 4, or maybe it was whatever his forward 4. Everyone's really quick. He used to punish it. Like it's 10 or 11. It's
yeah,
10 or 11.
I'm fairly certain that it's -10. But I do know that there were a couple characters that they had very specific punishes, and now in Tag 2, I'm sure Kuni, I'm sure her knee will reach it. I'm not sure how fast Yoshi's knee is. His might get it too. But for the most for most of the characters, like I don't think any of the Mishimas can punish it, just because it has that little bit of pushback on block to get you out of that range.
Got to be a long range.
I can't think of anybody who has a jab that'll reach that.
So is there like any? So we're covering like range type stuff. Is there anything in specific? Like you had a question?
No, I was just curious. Like, are you usually looking just to get in? Well, I shouldn't say get in, but like, are you looking just for like the quarter circle forward 1 cancel or quarter circle forward cancel into while standing 1, and then once you're there, just kind of doing most of your damage there, or do you prefer to kind of move around, poke a little bit? Because I mean, he has some great pokes. Obviously down forward 1 is really good. Back 4 is amazing. Really long range down forward 4. 2-4 I mentioned earlier is one of my personal favorites. But like when you're just kind of moving around trying to run your game, like what are you looking to do?
I want people to eat my low damage. I don't want them to duck. I don't want them ducking. I want them to eat those lows. I want them to stand up. And I want to hit them with my down 2. I want to hit them with down 4s. I'm going to hit them with some down forward 1s, because there's just like good neutral pressure. Back 4, for people who are stepping a bit, and when you're at that close range and you think people are going to press you, you got back 4. And once you get to that mid range, you're baiting people and you're sidestep 4. You got options to keep people out. Like I'll be honest, I'm a button presser. I'm pressing a lot of buttons. I'm not a whip punisher. I don't sit there and have the best reaction time. So I'm going to force you into situations that I can control.
Interesting. I wanted to ask real quick. You mentioned down 4, right? Now I have always been a huge fan of just the generic shin kick, and for him it's down 3+4. But what benefits does down 4 have over the shin kick that you would want to use that?
Okay, well, I mean, of course, between the shin kick and the down 4, of course, you're not crushing. You can get jabbed out of it, things like that. But what's so great about it is that, as opposed to the shin kick, which is negative, down 4 is 0. So people will use shin kick, and then maybe they'll use like a while standing or something. You can totally get stuffed. You can get beat out, launched, all that shit. But with down 4, since it's 0, there's very specific things that you need to look out for. People trying to magic for you, or wanting to put you in a 10-frame counter hit, like a 2-2-3, Feng Wei, things like that. But the down 4 gives you the option of immediately sidestepping, whereas if you're coming from crouch, you won't have those options. So that's just the direct comparison between that and the shin kick. But yeah, I use down 4. I can fit in the back 4 because like a 0, so I'm immediately using a 12-frame move. unless you're quick about it, or I can jab.
Okay, so let me ask this then. So your goal, it sounds like, is the exact opposite of most characters. They want you to duck to hit you with the big mid. So you want them to stand so you can just kind of keep kicking their shins. Now, what moves like would want to make you stand? Like, are you just doing big mids? Are you just doing?
Yeah, I got down 4-1. I got down 4-1 to keep you there. I got back 4. Back 4 is great. Back 4 is lovely. That move tracks people. It's not a homing move. So there are instances where people will get around. People will get sidestepped and get away from you. But back 4 is great. I want them to stand. You don't want to duck against Fang because people are afraid they're going to get hop kicked while standing 3, and while standing 1 pressure. They're going to end up standing, and I think.
So it sounds like you're mostly just doing like mid pokes to kind of get them to come up. Do you ever do you ever find yourself using like just doing big hitters to try to get them to come up? Because I know, like, for me, I love down forward 2-2. I love that move so much. It's a little on the slow side, but it still has good reward. And then down forward 3, of course, safe mid launcher. Although it doesn't launch everyone, I don't think. Well, you get at least the little down 4 1+2, but it doesn't give the full launch.
Oh, I think you can launch everyone in the cast with that move. Down forward 3, standing 2, standing 1 into a down back 1+2 bound, or I think you can also 2 slide 1 bound it.
Oh, I thought it whiffed small characters.
Oh. Nah, I can hit.
Okay, good. All right, never mind then. I take that back. So yeah, you have a complete safe mid. Yeah.
Completely safe mid launch. People will definitely have to respect it, and I use it a bit more than I did in 6.
Why is that?
I mean, it's safe again as it was in all the Tekkens that things been around, but it's great because his lows are so good that people will want to duck, and it's a safe launch. And this game is all about launches, so I'm looking for as many launch opportunities as I can get. Because it's like whoever gets the first launch really is going to control the pace. You can get someone to below 50%, or to 50% where they want to tag, and they're looking for a safe tag opportunity, and maybe they eat a little more Okie damage because they're looking for that opportunity. They'll sacrifice a few more points if they're able to get their character out safely and get someone else in.
Gotcha. So you think?
So many games.
So you find yourself using it more just because the tag system benefits launchers a little more?
Right.
Oh.
Right. Why not? Launch as much as possible.
Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, it was cheap in T6, so it's going to be even more cheap now. So I guess since you kind of opened that door a little bit for the launchers, are there anything like really? I don't want to say necessarily new, but are there any maybe differences from T6 to Tag 2 in his juggles aside from just the tag assaulting? Like, do you find yourself using different strings or enders or anything?
Well, I guess the normal ender in 6.0 was like forward 3-4. And then you could run up and you could get them in the tech trap.
Does he still have that, by the way? I haven't really messed.
No, that tech trap is gone.
But I know it was like a glitch.
But there
it
are
wasn't an actual like a trap. It was a blocking glitch that was in the game. But
yeah, but that thing is gone. I mean, he does have some other tech traps, but they're They're a little more situational. That was pretty straightforward. It's like I'm gonna do my staple juggle, and then you're gonna tech, and I'm gonna make you eat some more damage. Um, in this game, it's a little bit different.
Okay. So aside, so are you like, let's say, okay. So I guess here's the reason I'm asking, because like when I played Fang here, I don't play him a ton, but I do like his character in Tag 2, and I like what he can do. I thought that he was a good character in T6. For some reason, I just didn't really like him all that much. I thought he was a little cheesy, but I don't know. I'm feeling him a little bit more in Tag 2, so I've messed with him a little bit. And for me personally, I always find myself tag assaulting whenever he gets the launch, just because of the 3-slide-4 ender. Just does so much damage. Now, are you in the same boat, or are you doing other stuff, or what's your go-to strat for juggles?
Okay. My normal, like what I'm doing when I'm juggling. Yeah, I normally end with the 3/4. But I started using 4/3 more because it spikes them. And that lends more of an urgency for the opponent to use their tag crafts. Because if you use that 3/4, the person really has a better chance of raw tagging in. But if you're spiking them, I mean, you can stomp. You got down for one pickup if they try to roll. You can go back turn. They're sitting right in front of you. You can do whatever you want. So using that a bit more, and how the Korean player is like one of my big inspirations of this game, because he's just playing so well, and he's aggressive like I am. So I can kind of watch his style and pick up on some of the things that he's learned. Like he started using that, and I was like, okay, why? And it's like, oh, it's a spike. Why not? So and it only does like a few points less, like maybe like 3 points less than using 3/4 as an ender.
And I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit there. Who was it that you're watching?
Okay.
Yeah, you're good now. It was just when you said the name, you cut out a little bit.
How the Korean player? Yeah, he's a kid to watch if you're looking for Fang strats. I've seen a few other Fang players, but he's really the guy who's running Fang right now.
So do you then? And I guess here's the reason that I opened that little box there, because you mentioned obviously juggling is very, very important in this game. But do you find yourself tag assaulting all the time, or are you doing normal juggles? And I ask that because a lot of people believe that eventually this game is going to evolve into red life combos as opposed to just tag assaulting. And Ace, obviously, from NEC, from your personal experience, he's the exact opposite. It's tag assault all day, nonstop. But with Fang, what's up?
It depends. It depends. Using tag assault versus using red life combos. For me, I think the way I think about it is like if I can do enough damage with tag assaulting, like the Mishimas, if I can do enough damage tag assaulting to force you into a tag crash situation, or to give myself such a good Okie opportunity, then I will use a tag assault. Because the rage that I gave you, you'll throw out when you tag crash, or you'll eat so much life that you only have one character left, like that's viable after this tag assault juggle.
Well, and the reason that I bring it up is it's actually twofold. Because for one, I don't think that Fang has like the best mid juggle tag out options. Like I know that he has forward 3/4 that he can tag off of, but I mean you have to have a character that has pretty low pickup to do anything with that. And then also there's people that are on both sides of the aisle, because like YJ Shin, who's the Korean player who's currently in Indiana, he actually believes the same as you do. Like, if I hit you with 2 God Fists and I'm tag assaulting off them, you're dead. So it's either you use that to tag assault or to tag crash and get out, in which case, it doesn't yield you anything anyway, or you die.
Right.
So, but then there's people on the other side of the aisle where, well, you're giving them rage, you're doing all this other stuff, and if they get in safely, you're going to eat a lot of damage.
It's 2 schools of thought. It's like kung fu versus karate. Like, both work. You just go about it in a different way.
So do you ever? I guess in that sense, to kind of go back to the first part, do you? Are there any good tag out or red life options for Fang, or are you mostly just tag assaulting and doing it that way?
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, for Fang, are you do you find yourself tag assaulting, or are there ways to get red life with him that you like?
I usually have to tag assault if I really want to do good damage. Like if Fang is starting the combos off, I've got to tag assault to get a lot of damage. Because he's only going to do about 70 something points by himself, and I can get 90 to 100 with the tag assault. So it's math there. We're going to tag assault.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think I had another question. Oh, yes. The wall carry. Does he? Because he's not like a Lee with a back two that he can just do all day. How do you see his wall carry in this game? Is it the exact same as it was in T6, or is there something that maybe us newbies don't know about that you can use?
Fang wall carry. The forward 3/4. Like I can end a lot of my juggles. Especially if I tag assault. Or either way, just post down. Like I can get a jab forward 3/4, or I can just do the forward 3/4. It gives you a little bit of a wall carry, but it's nothing like Nina, like where she can just walk standing one you like forever. So I guess I'm usually using forward 3/4 to wall carry. I guess it's the same.
And then you're just doing the 1-2 shoulder at the wall.
Yeah, 1-2 shoulder, or you could use 3/3/4. If you want to force them to tag crash, you can use 3/3/4.
Now I notice most people in wall combos, when you tag assault him in, that's usually what they do is 3/3/4, and then it goes back to your first character. Is that what you do as well, or is there something else?
So I didn't.
Oh, so like he's the second character that you tag assault in. So like his filler, at the wall.
Okay.
I noticed most people doing 3/3/4. Is there something better, or is that pretty standard?
Oh, that down filler on the wall. That's the best. You always want to set that up to let Fang do 3/3/4. Sometimes you can use forward 3/4 if you've got a little more juice on your finishing character. Like if they got a really strong finisher. But otherwise you're gonna use this 3/3/4. It does really good damage. Like, I don't know why anyone wouldn't use it.
Oh, and I was going to ask real quick about his, since we're kind of on the topic of tag assaulting or tag filler. When you tag assault him in just in open space, in the open area, what's usually the best filler? Are you using forward 3/4, or is there something better than that?
As the tag assault filler? Sometimes I use forward 4/3. It sends them kind of high, and it's quicker. It does about the same damage. It makes your combos a little tighter, but forward 3/4 is usually the one people use. but he does have other options. That what other option would you potentially use? Like on open ground, yeah, I think the 4-3-4 is normally what people go for.
All right then.
And see, in that sense, that's one of the things about that remains boring is the fact that he doesn't have like a whole lot of options, like with his tag assaults and fillers and wall enders. Like he's one of those people that has like one option and it's definitely the best, and so you always use that. Like I don't think there's really much innovation in store for Fang game. Like it's going to be played.
Now, do you think that that's true for his entire game, or just like certain areas like juggling, for instance? Or do you think he's a pretty straightforward, simple character in that sense?
Yeah, he's a real simple character, and to be honest, I think that's why Tag 2 was so great, because I was like, oh my god, I get to play Horong again, and Jin is like almost a new character. I can use him too. I was like, okay, this is great, because man, I love Fang to death, but after a while, even Fang gets boring. I'm like, okay, dude, I got it. Shoulder, stomp, and back turn grab mix-ups. I got it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I did want to talk about grabs a little bit, and especially with back turn, it's a true 50-50. He throws out the same arm every time. But just in general, like his grabs, yeah. I mean, they seem like they put you in pretty shitty situations, like with the exception of like maybe the one grab because it tosses you away. But like everything else leaves you right there at his feet. Not every character has a back turn 1+2 grab. So that's always a plus.
Right.
And again, that's another one that leaves you right there, right at his feet, which is a really shitty situation to be in.
Yeah, it can down forward one you if you try to roll back, if you try to quick stand. You're always going to need to down forward one.
So
people want to stay there, and they'll normally eat. I'll throw out like a down 4. Or if I know they're going to stay there, then I'll stomp them. Down 3+4.
So even his Okie game, it sounds pretty simple. It's just down forward 1 or stomp.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing this since 5. It's kind of like a job now. All right, okay, need something new.
Gotcha. Well, I think for the most part, I'm starting to run out of stuff. I did want to talk about his punishing just a little bit, because we've kind of been talking about it a little bit. We mentioned, 1-2-2, really great punisher. Shoulder, obviously, really good. Trying to think of what else he has up to 15. I'm guessing that's probably what you would use. Excuse me, up till 15 is 1-2-2, and then shoulder until you can get a launch. Does that sound right, or am I missing a punisher?
Yeah, 1-2, everything up to 13. Maybe use 2-4 if you think that they're, if they don't know what to do when Fang goes back turn, up to 13. Once you get 13, use shoulder. 14, still doing shoulder. And 15, you hop kick if you can.
So now, do you change that up at all if because the his hop kick kind of has shitty range? Do you automatically revert to shoulder, or is there other options that you could try?
Well, at 15, you're going to want a shoulder. Once you get to 16, you can start using his forward 4, which it gives, what is that, like a crumple? It's like a crumple, and you can down them. So you can do forward 4 into like 2-1 down, the combo at 16. So like there's situations where Fang can't hop kick, but the move is punishable enough for that.
Now, is forward 4 a move that you would ever use outside of that situation?
Yeah, ton. That's a great move outside when you think someone's moving in on you, because it's safe, right? It's safe on hit, or rather on block. because I can go forward 4 in the back turn, and then I can cancel, and get out of the way pretty much this time. I don't think anyone's really going to hit you.
Now, what?
They just throw it out.
I did want to ask real quick about the Crumple Suns, because I know I think he has some other stuff that gives him that same sort of drop. Like down back 4, for instance, gives you that really weird drop. After a forward 4 hits, do you usually just do 2 slide 1?
Yep, I do. Liquid. I got this from Liquid. So props to Liquid. I will do what Liquid does is he does forward 4, and then he does forward 4-3. The forward 4 west and the 3 will bound, and it does more damage. I just don't like using it because it's some extra.
Now, since you're bounding so early and it gives them that funky bound, what do you typically do after that?
Just like forward 3-4, down 4 1+2.
Interesting. I did not realize that popped up that much.
Yep.
Nice.
It does.
All right. So back to the punishing. So for
But I would tag assault. But honestly, in that situation, when you do forward 4-2-1, it's almost always better to tag assault. You can get a ton more damage. Like with Jan, I can do like in the mid 80s. I think it's 80. No, maybe it's like 81 points versus getting like 60 or 70 something.
Gotcha.
By myself.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, and I would imagine that that huge pop up, clearly a benefit from the tag assault. So
exactly.
to go back to the punishing just a little bit. So his wall standing punishing, I think it's wall standing 4, and then does he have anything special up until launch? Because I thought that was about it. I mean, wall standing 1, but I don't think that's really.
Wait, to launch? Or like you're talking about like
No. I'm saying for wall standing punishment, you have wall standing 4 at -11, and then from that point and up until you can launch, does he have any special or good punishers that I'm unaware of?
I think wall standing position is 14 frames now, so you can do wall standing 1-2, which is better damage. If you know that the move is 14 minus 14. But that's the very specific, very, very situational knowledge. You'd probably just be using it while standing 3.
So I take it that's it then. Just pretty simple options while standing 4 or launch if you can. Oh, I was saying that it sounds like his while standing punishers are really simple. It sounds like it's just while standing 4 and then a launch if you can get it. Nothing real goofy.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about too much more. The mind game, of course, is whenever Fang is crouched, people are worried because you've got full crouch down forward 1.
Mm-hmm.
I love that move. It does good damage, and on counter hit it knocks down. And the thing you can do is if people are going to move, you can 1+ forward to pick them back up, and bound them. It's a pickup 1+4. 1+4 is just in general as a move is pretty interesting because it leaves you with like +4. Was it +5 actually? I think it leaves you at +5. If they do anything, they sidestep, they duck, they try to move forward. If they hit a button, you can interrupt and counter hit and launch them at the time. So like I'll do 1+4, and if the person moves at all, like towards me at all, I can hop kick them. I can down forward 3 them. Normally use down forward 3. I like to use it when a person is close to wanting to tag out, and they'll eat the 1+4, and then if they try to leave, they're eating a launch on the way out, and I'll either kill them or it's a great setup, for the person incoming.
Well, looking at the frame data here, it says +6, so even better.
It's pretty nasty.
Even better than the +4 or 5.
I mean, the trade-off is that for all that advantage, if they block it, they can launch. So it comes at a price.
Now, it has kind of a slower startup. I don't necessarily think it's seeable, but do you find people able, because, it sounds like you get games in with some pretty, good players. Do you find that they're blocking that on reaction or anything like that?
I'll tell you, a lot of top players don't like the duck. They will eat those. They will eat those. They eat the 1+4 just like everybody else. They're the same.
Well, I would imagine that's not a bad philosophy to have, since mids are just so beefy in this game. But I did want to talk about his lows a little bit, because you mentioned earlier, we talked about it, because that's your thing. You like the down 2s, down 4s, now 1+4. And then I did want to talk about sidestep 4, because to me that's the nastiness. There's not a lot of characters that have low launchers, period. And he has one that tech crouches. Granted, it's part of a sidestep, but you get that sidestep that comes with it. So is that a low that you use very often, or are you mostly just a low poke guy?
I use it. It's one of those things where the person's running in on you. Is it? Or the person has become jab happy, and they're trying to pressure you, and you know that it's real linear, the pressure, and so you decide to pour out of it. But I wouldn't use it offensively, just throwing it out. And if I did, it has to be really. You got to know they're not going to duck that move, because that shit hurts. Like, they're going to launch you. They're going to take, over half your life. I think sidestep 4 was maybe even more viable in 6 than it is in Tag 2. Nobody uses it. Really, you shouldn't.
Interesting.
You got to condition them. You're better off using another move, sidestep 2, which is really good, because it puts you in the back turn, and they have to guess. Sidestep 2 is a great way to get in the back turn that I don't think people use enough. It's great for people coming in. It has decent range. So it's at mid range, you can stop people from coming in, or at least put them. You put them into a good mix of situations.
Yeah, I know it has I think it also has a pretty decent pushback, and it says -1. So yeah, it's insanely safe. Yeah.
Great.
One thing that that I used on occasion was the back 3 slide 4 into back turn, or I think it's back. I think that's the notation.
Which one?
Back 3 slide 4.
Oh.
And then you just go back.
Yeah, they go on the back turn. That's a good one. What do you
I was just throwing it out there as another way to get into back turn, but I actually just wanted to ask about.
It's great.
I just wanted to ask about back turn in general. Now, once you're there, I know that he has some pretty hard hitting mids to back turn 2-2, for instance, but I don't think he has any safe mids out of back turn, right? Because back turn 2-2 is punishable, and then I guess you can do back turn hop kick, but that's also punishable. Once you get into back turn, obviously his grabs are really scary. What are you doing to kind of counteract if they're ducking, or maybe trying to interrupt you?
Sorry, I'm in the car with FMP, and he's driving like a madman.
Well, make sure he doesn't kill you. I don't want to.
Very mashed potatoes, man. Yeah.
Don't want death by driving in the middle of.
So I'm sorry. You're saying you're asking me what do I know?
Yeah, what are you looking to do? Because grabs are obviously his grabs are really nasty. But his mids are punishable out of back turn. And then in certain situations that you mentioned earlier, you can interrupt him. So what are you trying to do once you get into back turn?
Well, I go under the assumption that people are going to duck. They will duck. If you just run up to someone and go back turn, more than likely they're going to want to duck. So what do you have? You got 1+2, which is like, how punishable is 1+2 back turn? It is punishable. Like, people don't understand, but it's not as punishable as I don't think you can launch it. So I use 1+2 a lot because most people, like I said, will duck. Back turn down 3, it's usable, but I wouldn't start with that. Like, but of course, the good thing about the back turn down 3 is you get full damage. Like, you can get a full juggle off of it now because you just do back turn down 3 and a while standing 1, you get whatever. Later, SMP is off to work. And I'm out the car. Maybe I can end this podcast by turning on my system.
Actually playing the game a little bit. That's that's usually that's how I roll. For those out there listening, I usually have it on to kind of compare stuff and see what's going on, and then I can maybe contribute a little more than I do now. So it sounds like when you go into back turn, it's mostly back turn 1+2, and I'm guessing if they don't duck, you just grab, like, that's your main thing. You're not really, because you mentioned back turn down 3, but I'm guessing you don't do it a whole lot.
Yeah, you don't want to use it too much. Sorry, Sean, I'm in a situation where I think I made a lot to myself about the house.
That is a shame. And I'm keeping that in this episode as well because I want people to know that you locked yourself out of your house.
Locked himself out of his house.
Out of his house. I don't think I could have scripted that any better, to be honest with you. Are you gonna be all right? You gonna be? Can you get in, or are you just gonna have to chill?
I think I'm getting back in the car with SMP to figure this out.
Oh wow, that's funny. Well, I mean, with that, his back turn game was the last thing that I really had any questions about. I can't really think of anything else really to ask. Were there anything that we didn't talk about that you think is really important when playing this character?
Down for 1, back 4, down 3, down back 3. We talked about his grabs. Talked about back turn. I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered it all.
As much as we can. So with that, we could definitely wrap this podcast up. It sounds like Locke needs to unlock his house so he can get in. So with that, for everyone out there listening, for those who don't know or haven't been paying attention, Eris actually put up a 5-part Fang video tutorial series. So if you're looking to get even more information, there's some supplemental stuff, of course, out there for you that you can look into. And then to end the podcast, I do have a little rant section that I'm going to make you do. And basically, it's a soapbox. I want you to get mad about something and tell the world about it. And it doesn't even have to be Tekken related. It doesn't even have to be gaming related. I want to know what makes Locke really mad aside from being locked out of his house.
Who am I ranting about? Or what am I ranting about? Can I rant about
anything you want. It can be a person. It can be a thing. I don't care what it is, but I want some salt. I want some rage to end this episode on.
Okay. What am I
And you're in
ranting
New York,
about?
so I know you're fucking mad. It's just like a requirement to live there.
Oh, man. I think you know what? I think the fighting game community needs some fresh salt. So I'm about to sprinkle it on thick. You know what? The sad part about it is not even fresh. Because I believe that man EP, Eddie Pistons, Tom Brady, and JLP have all sounded this before. But I'm going to come at it a different way. Ariel Capellan, why did you leave New York? Why did you move to Florida? Why did you get on a bus, travel 18 hours to lose, to go home? Shit like that wouldn't happen if you didn't leave New York. Get your ass back to New York. You don't belong in Florida. It was a shame that we had to announce you as fighting GM of Florida quickly before, Bloodhawk mops you up. But come back to New York, man. You're trash down there.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I love that.
Hey, I'm sorry. I needed to say it. I've been needing to say it. Hey, bitch, you owe me money. You ain't giving it. Whatever.
Oh man, there we go. We got New York calling for their guy back, GM. Now you're gonna have a war with Florida because they'll be like, nah, man, he's Florida now. You can't have him.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah. Cody's not gonna let him go. Cody's like, Cody's like, he's the greatest thing ever. He can play Tekken. I'm like, that's it. That's
oh, funny. Well, for the most part, that's actually all I got. So, to end the podcast, aside from the rant, I do like to give my my guests the last word. So, if you have any shout outs or if you have anything that you want to talk about that we didn't get to, or I don't know, any announcements. Sometimes people do that. But anything that you want to say, just kind of as a final note, go for it, man. The mic is yours.
I believe a fair number of people have been tuning in the past to the stream set the West Coast. What are the tournaments in the West Coast called?
Ooh, I have no idea.
Wednesday Night Fight.
Oh.
And Thursday Night Throwdowns. Whatever the shit that Incognito keeps winning. They got that, and then we have the Big Two series here on the East Coast, where you got Spooky consistently streaming. My thing is that I would really like it if people continue to tune in. We appreciate that because those numbers are driving the interest of Spooky and others in the community to continue watching and featuring Tag 2. And then turn that around. Also, I need the players to come out the tournament. I know that there's a lot of tournaments back to back that we had when the game started, and I'm pretty sure it's going to pick back up in the spring. People need to continue playing through EVO. It's got to happen. Otherwise, the game will die. I started to see the numbers are lagging, and it's not an isolated event. So if you love the game, come out and play. As you saw, Ace was an online competition kind of guy. There's a lot of his comp online. He came out the tournament. That's what we like to see. Everyone that plays, whether it's online or offline, should come to the tournament. It's an opportunity to get better. So that's all.
Very much. I second that opinion as well. So when is the next tournament that you're planning to head out to?
I'm going to Apex on the 11th in Jersey. I believe that's where it's at. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to make it out to KSC because I have to work. I have to come out like a day early and have them house me or something so I can work Friday night and Saturday morning. I just don't think it's going to happen. So Apex.
So are you planning on heading to anything that isn't on the East Coast before EVO? Are there any big majors that you're eyeballing?
Come on, say it. Final round, man. Final round. It's coming. I'm going to be there. Everyone's going to be there. Final round may be the tournament of the year. It may outshine EVO. I don't know who all the guest future players are, but I think that's going to be a really big one of any note ahead of EVO.
And I do have to give a shout out to all the guys that put final round together, because to be completely honest with you, I love EVO. I love everything that EVO's doing, and it's going to stay big just because there's a lot of players out in SoCal and in that area, and they have a lot of Japanese and Korean connections. So they can get those big names out there. But final round is doing the same thing, and the more tournaments we have like that, the better the scene is, plain and simple. If there's one place or one thing that's doing it all, that can kind of stifle some things. So mad props to all those guys taking care of final round. Of course, Shin Blanca, of course. So always.
Yeah, props to
Shin
Blanca.
Yeah. So with that, if that's all you got, man. If you don't have any other shout outs or anything to give, I'll put an end to this podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
everything.
Now it's time for you to figure out how to get in your house. But with that, for Loken or Locke and myself, thank you everyone for listening. I'm going to try to get as many of these episodes out as I possibly can. And with that, keep sending me your recommendations for guests. We got a lot of characters left to do. So, I will leave you with that. We hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.